Hello guys, welcome to episode 4 of this series. In this episode, I am going to talk about routing and I am going to add another page to the application to see the details of a patient. So right now, this is the page that we have, right? So this page allows us to kind of see different, patients that we have using this portion of the, template. And of course, it allows us to create new patients. Of course, everything is local. I mean, if you close the application, you will lose everything, right? Nothing is persisted yet. Nothing is, sent to a backend API. But of course, we will fix those as we progress through the course. So navigation, the topic of this episode. Navigation allows you to navigate between the different pages of your application. We all know by now that pages are routable. So even though, for example, a component and a page, both of them reside inside of a file with the Razor extension, the difference is that components are reusable pieces of logic and template. But pages are, routable. Components are not routable. Pages have this @page directive added to them. So this means that, the user can navigate to, for example, /patients when they're viewing your application, and they will get to this page, right? And we talked about this before. Now, what I want to do now is that for each, patient that we are rendering here, I want to add like a button so that the user can click and then see the details of that user in another page, like a patient details page. So there's going to be navigation between this page, patients, and patient details page. So let me go ahead now, and first let me add the patient details page. So I'm going to add patient details page. This is the page I'm going to implement. So I'm going to get rid of this portion and then start writing the code for this patient details page. I'm going to inject the navigation manager service because I want to, I want the navigation to work. And I'm going to show you how I'm going to use it. And then I am going to, create a section for showing the full name, the date of birth, the gender, the contact details of the patient, and then a button to go back. Now the code section of this page, it's going to receive an ID and a patient. And we're going to override the uninitialized lifecycle method. We do not have a database yet, but let's simulate that. So suppose we have this mocked list of patients with some, sample data. So these are sample, patient objects. And then we're going to find the patient whose ID we have received from the route. And then the go back function, which is used by that button. So take a look at the code. It's not that difficult. First off, take a look at the route for this page. So we're going to have these patients hard-coded a string, and then we expect to receive an ID parameter of type integer, and we're going to use that, right? So this ID will be mapped to this ID here automatically by the routing, built-in routing mechanism in Blazor. And then we've got the injection of Navigation Manager service. So Navigation Manager inside of Blazor applications allows you to do navigation. So to go from one page to the next and so on. And I am using this Navigation Manager here. If you take a look here, I have bound the click event of this button to a method called go back. And if I take a look at the go back method, I am using nav manager, which is the name of that dependency, and I am using the navigate to method, and then I am navigating the user to the patient's page. And we know that the patient's page, as you can see here, the patient's page has this route associated with it. Now, what I want to tell you is that I've got, this section of my template, which is rendering the full name, the date of birth, gender, contact number of the patient. So this is the patient we are talking about. So this patient is a local, let's say, private variable, which is populated inside of this override we have created for uninitialized. So uninitialized is a lifecycle method in Blazor that is going to execute after the component has initialized. So because we do not have a database, we do not have a backend API to communicate with, which is of course something we will tackle later, we are simulating like a hard-coded list of patients. So suppose this list is coming from our database or from a backend API. So right now we've got 2 patients, and they have different IDs, like ID number 1, ID number 2, and then we are fetching the patient that we want from this marked patient list using link. We are fetching the patient whose ID equals the ID that we have captured from the route, from the route parameter. So if, for example, here we get 1, we will have the value 1 inside of this, and then we will use this here to get the, let's say, patient from this marked patient list whose ID is equal to 1, which would, of course, be the first patient. And we're going to set this local variable, right, this one, to the first patient, and then we're going to use that, here to show the full name, the gender, contact number, and so on. So this is how things are wired up. Now, one last thing that we need to do is to allow the user to navigate to this page from the patient's page. So as you remember, on this page, this is what we created in the previous episode. We are showing a list of the patients. Now for each item here, what I want to do is to create a button so that the user can navigate to the patient details page. And in order to do that, that button should do the navigation using the route of this patient details page, right, by passing the ID in the route as well. And the ID is going to be accessible using this P variable. So inside of this section, if you write, for example, P dot, you will get to the ID. Let me test this with P dot ID. Yes, I can get to the ID of the current patient. So what I am going to do is to write the code to get to the patient details page using the route of the patient details page and the ID of the current patient. So we're going to create a simple href element, and we're going to set the href element to the href attribute of this element to this route. In future episodes, we're going to refactor things. We're going to introduce some built-in components like navlink, for example. But here, things are going to be simple. We have created an anchor tag with the href set to this value. So we've got patients, which is of course the name of the the route of the patient details page, and we are passing the ID of the current patient. So now if I run the application, so I've got the application. If I go to the patient's page, I can go ahead and add a patient, and let me add my last name as well. So I'm gonna put in my details, and then I'm going to add that patient. And as you can see, for each patient now, we have this anchor tag. And if I hover over this, you can see here, right at the bottom, you can see that the value is going to be, the URL I am going to get navigated to when I click that link is going to be the URL of the patient details page as well as the ID of the current, patient, which is number one. And I'm going to click this, and you can see that we have been navigated to the patient details page. And then, of course, using the navigation manager, I can click this and get back to the patient's page. So let me stop the application. And that's it. That's it for this episode. In this episode, you kind of learned how navigation works, how to use Navigation Manager, how to kind of set up a parent detail or master detail page. And we're going to extend this in future episodes. We're going to introduce a persistence layer. We're going to communicate with our backend API. Things will get interesting as we progress throughout the course. And if you are enjoying watching these episodes, please give them a thumbs up, give them a like, and stay tuned for the next one as well.